Welcome to the fastest track in all of NASCAR. It is no surprise that the fastest track in the sport in the Irish Hills is home to where American horsepower was born. All of the car makers want to prove their mark today, to claim that they are simply the fastest. It is also a day for another driver to steal the spotlight. The last 2 weeks saw first-time winners go to victory lane and lock themselves into the playoffs. How about 3 for 3 this time around? And whoever does it will have to handle the speeds of over 200 miles per hour to accomplish that feat. It's race 15 of the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series season. It's the FireKeepers Casino 400 from the Michigan International Speedway here in Brooklyn, Michigan. And it's going to be partly cloudy skies, but it will be sunny. No rain is expected to have a major factor in this race here today. Temperature going to be in the mid to high 70s, about a 24% chance of rain. East-southeast wind at 6 miles an hour through the racetrack, with humidity around 63% here today. So it's going to be a bit spotty conditions, but overall we should be good to go. Green flag is scheduled to be at 2:19 p.m. Eastern Time on Prime Video. And welcome everyone back to an episode of MDK RaceDay. My name is Jett. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Countdown continues on. We have 12 races to go in the regular season until the NASCAR playoffs, and we're heading to Michigan International Speedway, which since the next gen car has been introduced in NASCAR has been one of the more hot spots of the NASCAR season. So we're excited to see what will happen here today. Last Sunday at Nashville saw the series' 9th different winner of the year go to victory lane in Ryan Blaney. However, he still remains 7th in the point standings. The driver that remains on top is William Byron, who also had a really good car last Sunday. The top 3 remains the same of Byron, Larson, and Bell, but Byron opens up the gap between him and his teammate Larson due to Larson having to come basically from the back of the field after a bad start to the race. 48 points is the gap between first and second, 88 points between first and third. Denny Hamlin jumps up 2 spots and now going 4th. Elliott and Reddick each fall 1 spot below. Joe Logano gains the spot, moves ahead of Ross Chastain, and Bubba Wallace with his strong top 10 finish is now back inside the top 10, gaining 2 spots. However, he's 204 points below the cut line. I should say behind William Byron. However, he is 54 points above the cut line. He is the last driver that is colored in green that is within that 61 point range that you can get in a race. So he has improved his gap between himself and the cut line. However, he's not out of the danger zone by any means. The drivers that do have a bit of a gap are the 9 and the 45 of Chase Elliott and Tyler Reddick. They both have more than a 2 race gap above the cut line. 153 for Elliott, 140 for Reddick. Briscoe 1 point behind Wallace at 53 above the cut line. Bowman at plus 45. Chris Busch now in the 15th position, but just a slight 8-point gap ahead of the cut line. And Kyle Busch just barely hanging on at 2 above Ryan Preece. Carson Hocevar, another great run for him. He now jumps to 18th, the biggest gainer out of anyone among the top 20. He gains 5 positions to move now 4 points below the cut line. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. with his spin because of contact with Carson Hocevar. He now falls below the cut line, -6. AJ Allmendinger remains in the top 20, now -7 below the cut line. Busch, the official beer of NASCAR, proud sponsor of the Busch Light Pole Award given to the fastest driver at each NASCAR Cup Series event. Busch Light congratulates Chase Briscoe for his 6th career Cup Series pole in his 159th start. It's his 4th pole of 2025 and goes 3 in a row in Cup qualifying. The last time that happened was back in April of last year with Kyle Larson achieving that stat. Briscoe wins pole here at Michigan, his first at Michigan, I should remind y'all, with a speed of 195.514 miles per hour. Since 2020, Busch Beer has invested more than $50 million in being a premier sponsor of the NASCAR Cup Series. So here's a look at the starting lineup for the 2025 FireKeepers Casino 400. Once again, Briscoe starts on pole, but to his outside, Kyle Busch. It's been a struggle for him these past few weeks. He's now back up inside the top 10 in qualifying, starting in 2nd place. The former Michigan winner who hopes to go back to victory lane, which has now been more than a year, dating back to Gateway in 2023. Row 2, another former winner here at Michigan in Denny Hamlin and William Byron, who almost won here in 2021, starts alongside. Kyle Larson in 5th place. He's a 3-time Michigan winner. However, the last time he won was back when he was driving for Chip Ganassi Racing. So alongside him is Chris Buescher, who won here in 2023. Row 4 has Josh Berry, who won here at Las Vegas and celebrating Wood Brothers 75 years in racing, throwing back to Cale Yarborough's win here at Michigan in the 70s. Alongside him is Ty Gibbs. He was fast during practice and desperately needs a very strong run here this season. And around at the top 10 is Bubba Wallace, a 2022 pole center, finished 2nd also in that race. Alongside him, round out the top 10. How about Zane Smith? Excellent qualifying run run for him in that number 38 Ford, rounding out the top 10. Row 6 has another Ford in Austin Cindric, won at Talladega earlier this year, and Tyler Reddick, the defending Michigan winner, he starts alongside in the 12th position. Row 7 has Ryan Blaney, the 2021 Michigan winner. Alongside him is Carson Hocevar. He's been the hottest driver in the sport. He has been turning up great finishes and also ruffling some feathers alongside in a golden Chevrolet car, starting alongside in the 14th position. Row 8 has Joe Logano, the other three-time Michigan winner. Alongside him is Alex Bowman in the 48 Chevrolet. Row 9 has Chase Elliott in the number 9 Chevrolet. Alongside him is Ty Dillon in the 10 ride, with AJ Allmendinger and Ross Chastain with the Busch Light Apple car rounding out the top 20. Row 11 is a legacy row. Johanna Nemechek alongside is his teammate Eric Jones in the 43 Toyota. Row 12 is a Ford duo. Ryan Preece in the number 60 car has had some strong runs the last few weeks. Alongside him is Cole Custer in the 41 ride. Row 13, Christopher Bell. Shocking to see him this far down on the running order, 25th. But Shane Van Gisbergen in 26. Slowly but surely, that SVG number 88 Chevrolet is getting slightly better and better here on these ovals. He had a bit of an issue in practice, had a flat tire. But, like I said, he will start mid-pack in the 26th position. Row 14 has Brad Keselowski, the Michigan native, still has not gone to victory lane. No Michigan driver has ever won here at this racetrack. He hopes to break that streak here today. Alongside him is the number 3 Chevrolet of Austin Dillon, with Noah Gragson and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. rounding out the top 30. Here's a look at the final 3 rows. The Spire duo, Justin Haley and Michael McDowell. Surprised to see them this far down the running order. And then Todd Gilliland and Riley Herbst, the number 35 Toyota, with Daniel Suarez second to last in that 99 Chevrolet, with Cody Ware rounding out the 36 car lineup. Now, here's a look at the odds to win the FireKeepers Casino 400 presented by DraftKings. For the first time in a while, Kyle Larson does not enter this race with the best odds. That goes to Denny Hamlin at plus 500. Larson, though, the 3-time winner, right behind at plus 50. Reddick, the defending winner, at 700, with Byron and Blaney, who finished second and first in 2021, at 750 and 800 respectively. Then some good drivers with some pretty big odds. Bell and Busch at 1200, Gibbs, Logano, and Briscoe all at 1400, and then 5 drivers sitting at 1800, all big names: Chastain, Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott, Bubba Wallace, and Brad Keselowski. Carson Hocevar, he could be a big dark horse in this one here, 2200, Bowman at 2500, Barry at 3500, Cindric at 4,000, and Zane Smith, the biggest long shot on this list, at 5,000. And now it's time to make the call. Again, pretty self-explanatory. Every week I make a post on the YouTube discussions page giving me your thoughts on what do you think is going to happen here today at Michigan. Let's not waste any time. We got 8 ones we're going to pick out. We're going to read on this episode. Let's jump into it. The first one comes from Railroad Racer 49. He says William Byron will finally break through and win his second race of the season, and Carson Hocevar will have another top 10 run. Those two are very possible. I mean, William Byron, that usually with the 24 of William Byron, around this time of the season where we start to see Byron and that 24 team start to fall off. Not so much not being race winning contenders, but they usually take a step back. They bring in a lot of speed at the beginning of the season, then they kind of falter off and pick it back up in the playoffs. But 2014, this time around, a lot earlier than expected. They're starting to show a lot more speed, being contention a lot more. Nearly won Charlotte, nearly won Nashville. It would not surprise me one bit if we see Byron once again be competitive here today. And Carson Hocevar, like I said, he's the hottest driver in the sport right now. Not only is he bringing in great finishes in a car that I don't think should be up in the front, ruffling some feathers in the meantime, but like I said, hottest driver in the sport. Would not surprise me also one bit. Hocevar is a talented driver. He ran well in the truck race yesterday before all hell broke loose in that mess. But yeah, the 24 and the 77, both having great days. One of them have a shot at winning. Who knows? Maybe both of them could have a shot at winning. Hocevar? I mean, I'm just saying, that driver, he can surprise. Next one comes from Minecrafter's commentary. He says, I think Kyle Busch gets the win here. He won stage 2 here last season and finished in 4th. He's also in that range on the bubble, and multiple bubble drivers have said they're not points racing, they're racing for wins. That 8 crew could really use a win, and they also grabbed a win in 23 at a very similar track in Fontana. That is very right. There is some slight differences we have to look at though. 2023, that was the second year of the next gen car. Drivers were still figuring it out. RCR was the first to really at least get a hold of it at the beginning, specifically with the 8 car. Now that's not the case. And also number 2, Fontana. That track was last repaved in 1997 when it was first built, while Michigan had a repave in 2012. So is similar. It's not the same, different circumstances, similar, but I could see where you're going with that. And yes, you are right, Kyle Busch, he has won here in the past, and he did ran well here last year. He has ran great here this weekend, was fast in practice and starting in second place. I don't know about if they're going to be points racing. Kyle Busch, he's just a few points below the cut line. Let's say in stage 1, he could jump up to inside now the top 16 after one stage. So I wouldn't say he's points racing. I don't know if that's their mentality. If it is, okay, but they're not in that range where I think they should be just racing for wins. Obviously, if the opportunity presents itself, you absolutely jump on it, but I think points racing should still be in the back of their mind. Like, hey, listen, we got a good thing going. Let's not try and jeopardize it, because we're going to be heading into tracks that maybe not being their forte. So you want to gain as many points as possible. You could also look at that and, hey, look, we got Mexico coming up next week. Drivers like SVG, AJ Allmendinger, Michael McDowell. So it would be interesting to see what Kyle's strategy is going to be like this weekend, or should say today. Beast Mode _ Brian 8 says Josh Berry gets his second career Cup Series win. Would be a great story for the Wood brothers celebrating their 75 years with a win in Ford's backyard. Well, I mean, listen, Ford is damn good here in Michigan. They hold the most wins with, I believe, 44, and the Wood brothers have the second most wins out of any team, any organization here at Michigan, only behind RFK Racing, or most notably Roush Fenway Racing when they won all their races. So I mean, Barry starting up in the top 10, starting in very good position. I don't know if they had the speed yet. Haven't really seen that at the 21 yesterday in practice, but definitely would be a feel-good story. Owen Lynch Y8R says Blaney will go back-to-back and will be an all-around good race, staying positive. Blaney going back-to-back, I don't know. He did have an issue in practice. I believe he had a tire down due to debris, so I don't think any big issue there. Again, I don't know, kind of like with Barry, I think he'll be good. I don't know if the speed will be there. One thing though about Blaney, he is very good on the long run this season, and that is something that Michigan will have. I believe we will see long green flag runs. All around good race. We'll get to that later because I do have some questions about this race, but Blaney going back-to-back, if we get into a long green flag run, definitely could be a possibility. The Braided Bunch 58 says, I have the feeling that 2311 is going to be strong here this weekend. They've had the speed, and so has Toyota. Tyler Reddick will have a dominant performance and wins Michigan. So you're saying that Reddick will be going back-to-back. Yeah, you're totally right. 2 of the 3 2311 cars. I always forget that Riley Herbst is still on the team. I always forget that, but the 45 and the 23 have both brought in a lot of speed here today, and they both have had great history here. Michigan, Bubba Wallace, like I said, in 2022, won pole, led a lot of laps, finished second, has shown great speed here in all 3 years of the next-gen car. Tyler Reddick, the defending race winner. 2311, for some reason, there are certain tracks where they just get it. It was Kansas, and it looks like now it's Michigan that could be the track where they figure it out. They had a great week last Sunday at Nashville after a horrible month of May. June, fresh start for that 23 and 45 team. They got some momentum on their side. That could be a strong possibility that we could see both of them big contention here today. Jake Bindum 88, sorry if I mispronounced that last part there, but Carson Hocevar will piss off another driver, and I think it'll be Denny Hamlin. Knowing Denny Hamlin's luck, you're probably right. I mean, okay. I don't think he'll piss another driver off. I feel like Michigan is such a wide racetrack where it's kind of hard to really try and ruffle feathers at Michigan. Could be a possibility. I don't know. Maybe. Carson, I mean, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I'll go with that. He'll probably, I don't know if it'll be Hamlin, but yeah, I'll go with that. He'll probably piss someone off, which is more fun for us because then we got something to talk about. John Solomon 28 says, bad luck will come for Kyle Larson again, because it's like recently, it's like every time he goes to a track he's really good at and something bad always happens. Yeah, that is, if you look at these past 2 races, obviously Charlotte was a mess, just no other way to describe it. It was a mess. And then Nashville also started out not too good, had a horrendous start, then got caught up in that accident with Ricky Stenhouse and Alex Bowman, I believe. But he was able to work his way up towards the front and was able to get a top 10 finish. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. 3 times a charm? I don't know. 3 races in a row, Larson, something bad happens to him. He did crash out here last year. But I don't know. I don't think bad luck is gonna continue to follow Kyle Larson for the rest of the season. I think as long as they don't make any self-inflicted mistakes, they should be good. And we're going to wrap it up with JC1424. He says, feeling like Chase Briscoe finally gets a JGR win, that or Bubba Wallace, since he's always got winning speed there. Yep, we mentioned Bubba Wallace earlier on with Tyler Reddick. Chase Briscoe, I mean, I did in my Haters Guide video, I predicted that Chase Briscoe will make the playoffs. I think there are some races where that 19 will figure it out. He will get back to victory lane. We've seen Briscoe do great things in a car, the 14 car last year, that should have been nowhere near up front. I don't know. I think with the 19, again, growing pains, getting adjusted to a new team, new everything, new manufacturer. But we're starting to see that. We're starting to see in recent weeks that 19 team start to get better and better and better. And it starts on Saturdays. Before they weren't always up to the front. Now they're always up in the front on Saturdays. They're going to get better and better. Don't know if a win's going to happen today, but I do think they will go to victory lane very, very soon. All right, so what are going to be the storylines here today? We're going to first talk about the big ones. That is, how will the racing be? Now, we had our practice session very early in the morning. I'm talking about like 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, very early. So track with very cool temperatures, a lot of grip, barely any fall off. Obviously here today is going to be much later on in the day. The grip is not going to be as high. I don't know. I have a feeling that this race, when you look at the tires that Goodyear is bringing, the left side tires were used back at Charlotte earlier this year in the Coke 600, while the right side tires were not only used at Michigan last year, they were also used at Daytona and Talladega this year. And those races didn't fan out so well, but that's just more or less because of draft, not so much because of tires. But I do feel like this race is going to be a long run race. You're not going to see many yellows. I don't think this is going to be a race where track position is stupidly dominant. This is going to be a race where you have to be up front. You cannot make mistakes. Don't make mistakes on pit road that put you back in the middle of the hornet's nest, because I think it's going to be very difficult to see drivers get up towards the front. If we take a look at the introduction of the next gen car in 22, 23, and 24, when you look at the winners, Harvick in 22, 23 was Buescher, 24 was Reddick. They all had long green flag runs or long run speed in practice where they were up in the charts in the 10, 15, 20 lap averages. I'm talking long green flag runs. They were up towards the front. So this is going to be a race that will favor the long green flag runs and drivers are able to keep the car out in front for long periods of time. So I don't expect to see what we saw yesterday in the truck race where we just saw everyone and their mama try to not win. I think this race will be much more calm. I think we're going to see some good racing. Restart is going to be a lot of fun. We saw with this next gen car that Michigan has performed a lot better than it did in the Gen 6 and the COT era. So I do think we're going to see some good racing, but track position will be king once again. And it's pretty interesting when you look at the drivers because it's all pretty even, I feel like. But the one I will give the advantage to is Toyota. The Toyota has brought in a lot more speed, I feel like, than Chevrolet and Ford. Chevrolet, you look at Byron, you gotta look at Larson. There are some drivers in the Chevy camp. Carson Hocevar, I think, is a really dark horse pick. The Ford, you look at Blaney possibly, you look at Buescher, you look at Barry as those types of drivers. But with Toyotas, there's a lot more available. I look at relatively all of the JGR drivers except for Christopher Bell because he's starting mid-pack in the 25th position, but Briscoe brings speed. Hamlin always up front. And Ty Gibbs especially. Ty Gibbs, he had the best car in the 10, 15, and 20 lap average and is starting in the top 10. Again, Michigan tells us that the winners are ones that can be up front, that have that long run pace. And that's what Ty Gibbs has, which is why I'm like questioning my Fantasy Live lineup, because I don't have Ty Gibbs in my lineup. I don't. Even though he's running a lot of speed, I don't have him in my lineup. I do have his teammate. I do have Denny Hamlin. I got Chris Buescher, Bubba Wallace, William Byron, Carson Hocevar, and Kyle Busch in my garage. I don't have Tyler Reddick because I've used him, 6 times? I got like 4 uses left. And we have 12 races to go. So I'm saving him. These drivers, I haven't used as much. Kyle Busch, man, he's just got such bad luck. But maybe just in case, I got him in my garage. I think he's going to do well. But the driver that I do have winning is, for the first time in a while, is not in my Fantasy Live lineup. I think it will be Ty Gibbs. I do think Ty Gibbs will go to victory lane. Listen, it's the next gen. We have seen, I think, every year since 2022, at least a driver that is deep in points. I'm talking outside the top 20 points win. We have seen it every year. And I think today is going to be that day where we're going to see a driver that is deep in the points be able to just come out of nowhere and win a race. Ty Gibbs has brought in a ton of speed in practice. That 54 team, ever since they got their new car chief from Spire Motorsports, have gotten better and better and better. Although slowly, they have made a lot of speed. They've made some gains. I think this is Ty Gibbs' day. I think he will go to Victory Lane at Michigan and take home his first Cup Series win of his career. But what do you think is going to happen? Let me know in the comment section down below. As always, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content. Until next time, my name is Jett from MDK. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.